what does manhood mean to you?
Sure, sure. So thank you for having me first. And I think the idea is incredible. I could have used a repository like that. So I appreciate that.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursdays, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I'm excited to bring this brother here to you today. He was named after literally kings. He was named after a conqueror named Hannibal. He was named after the king on the trumpet, Miles Davis. He's also
Indeed.
self-proclaimed girl dad. He's an uncle. He's an educator. He's a leader. His name is Miles Wilson. Please welcome. Hi, Miles. Thanks so much for
Hey
being
Val,
here.
how are you? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Miles, you already know because you're an educator who does his homework. That what we're doing here, that we are creating a repository of 6 questions on our way to 100 answers by 100 successful and positive Black men. And not just for the sake of doing this. This is the purpose really is to hopefully one day inspire and guide young kings who may or may not have positive Black male role models in their life. And for the rest of us who can look into this repository, see these same 6 questions and 100 different answers, and hopefully we can see a broader narrative than what we are regularly fed by the general media and public. And so I'm so glad that you are part of this conversation, that you're part of this changing narrative. And I want to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
Sure, sure. So thank you for having me first. And I think the idea is incredible. I could have used a repository like that. So I appreciate that. So manhood, I'm going to go particularly by today's terms, very old school on this one, right? So I watched other episodes, and I think my comrades have done an incredible job of capturing the updated definitions of manhood. With that being said, I want to harken back to just some old school things that apply. To be a man to me is everything that we've probably heard before, but it's also about being chivalrous. This idea of being available to people, particularly women, in support of women, not because you're the end all be all and nothing can happen without you. We tend to have those type of conversations now, but it's in complement to what women bring to the table. I hope to bring myself as a whole person and meet another whole person. Let me share with you what I have, these attributes that I have. And it starts with being chivalrous. It starts with being courageous. It starts with being brave. And brave shows itself in many different ways. It's not just stand in front of, a car or jump in front of someone and fight somebody, but bravery shows up in a lot of different ways. Related to that, there's this calm, assertive energy that exists in sort of the divine masculine that I think we should not lose. And untamed inquiry. So if you know anything about education, men, women, young boys, young girls learn very differently. It's the reason why rockhead boys are bouncing off the ceiling and off the roof inside of classrooms. It's not because they're bad, it's that they have untamed inquiry. Their inquiry shows up a certain kind of way, and it's a very natural thing, and it shouldn't be trampled on. It should be allowed. So, excuse me, somebody's trying to call me, of course. It shouldn't be trampled on. So we should make room for that untamed inquiry. We should love that idea. And to me, that's manhood.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's really wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So Miles, who and or what is important to you?
All right. So you covered it a little bit already, right? So Of course, everybody and everything and all those good things. We're going to narrow this thing down. Who is my daughter? My daughter means absolutely everything to me. If you know anything about me, I am embarrassing to her, particularly as a teenager. I bring her up in every interview. Um, in conversation, my daughter comes up. She is literally the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I'm just incredibly proud to be a dad. I love this idea of sharing information with her and getting out the way, right? So, it's this protective nature that we have, but to be an incredible parent, which I aspire to be, I'm learning to engage, to support, to share information, and then move out the way. That last part is critical for a young person to see their dreams come to fruition. So, who is definitely my daughter. The what, more generally speaking, is just for Black people in particular, this level of fairness that really should happen globally. I'm just really engaged in that type of conversation across institutions, whether that's institutions of learning, of health, and a lot of times in the United States, we think it only happens in the United States, but this is a conflict, a conversation that's happening across the globe. So I have deep care and concern for who we are collectively across the diaspora, across the globe.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So, Miles, how do you want us to see you?
I want to be seen as a whole person. And I think there's a lot of things in our society that prevents that, particularly for Black men. I have come to accept there's certain things that I do that don't allow people to see me as a whole person. So I've been working on myself, particularly the last 4 or 5 years. So what I want you to see is a whole person. I want you to see the flaws, but I also want you to see the effort to improve. And I don't know if I could have said that to you a few years ago. I want you to see the fear, but I want you to see the courage that comes with getting over the fear. I would love for you to see just how courageous I am, because I am courageous. I know I am. And I also want you to see the fairness in me. I'm less concerned about people liking me. I'm over that and been over it for a very long time. At the end of the day, if you could say he treated me fair or the process was fair, that means way more to me than like. Our moms taught us a long time ago, if you spend your day trying to make everybody happy, you're going to be very unhappy. So I learned that lesson a while ago. It's really about fairness. So that's what I hope you see. The way I can support that is like how I respond to people and situations. So I was online not too long ago, and I forgot this brother's name because I would love to give him sort of the credit for hearing it, but he hit it. So where I can control it, a lot of times caring sisters like yourself will ask me, like, how are you? And a lot of times my response to people like me will say, oh, I'm alive and kicking, or something like that. That's what I plan to do. That's not how I'm doing, right? It's almost like we are machines or machinery when you respond that way. And I had to check myself because I'm really not answering the question. I'm actually avoiding the question. And that's rooted in sort of how I grew up. A lot of times we're in situations where we can't show weakness. So you have to mask, you have to be brave. You have to not show sort of that hint of I'm vulnerable. So I need to do better that way. So what I would like you to see is a whole person, the good and the bad, the strength, the weakness, but the pursuit and the push to be better.
Wow. Wow. That's thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So, Miles, what is your epic dream?
So I'll stay away from the world peace and all that good stuff. That's the easy stuff. I want to see my epic dream is Black people not caring so much. Yeah. And what I mean by that is we care way too much what other people think, and not in a good way. We work really hard. We bend, we contort, we scratch where we don't itch in an effort to be accepted. And we need to get out of that modality, this idea that we have to work to be accepted. It's really about that inner strength, that inner love, and standing very naturally with who we are and forcing people to deal with it. And that takes a courageous step. And that actually calls for people not to be such a similarist necessarily, but more about, I recognize how much I intimidate you, and you're going to have to be okay with that and figure that out. That's not for me to figure out. So, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. This is my personal opinion, just how we show up very naturally, organically. This whole conversation about Black women and their hair in the workplace, that exists because Black women scare the hell out of people in their natural state. Yet we do everything we can not to look like ourselves, right? So for me, my epic dream is for us not to be fighting so hard to be accepted, and to just stand in our glory and then make people deal with it.
Amen. Yes. Excellent. That is awesome. So you have most definitely been answering this question all along, but
okay.
but I'm going to ask you explicitly. So,
okay.
Miles Hannibal Wilson.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I love that name. Now I was intimidated by that name when I was young. I didn't like it. I love it now. So who am I? I'm an empathic soul, and then I'm learning how to show it more. I'm unpredictable. I'm unconventional, and I love that aspect of me too. Because again, it goes back to that inquiry. Like I'm not easily boxed in. If you think you figured me out, that's the day you lost, because that I don't know if there's such thing. And I need to make sure I surround myself by people that love that about me, that unpredictability, ready to take that sort of wild ride. The other thing I've learned about myself and who I am, I was meant to travel. I'm a traveler. I need to move around, and I need to see different places because it really nourishes me to do that. Because in doing so, I engage things, and it's a very rare situation throughout my entire life that I've been in a place or a situation and I'm not collecting what actually took place. Like sometimes people just move through situations and they're not even paying attention to what just happened. I have a really good memory. I remember a lot of stuff. I just collect ideas and thoughts and all those type of things, smells, like you name it. And the gift on top of that gift is this ability to translate sometimes. So when I push forward and I go into these spaces where other people may not want to, I believe it is my job to bring that back to other people and share that information, like process it and share it in a way that's palatable, that makes sense to them. And I think that's who I am at my core. This want to learn and to share. That's me at my core.
Awesome. That's excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. So here we are already at question 6, which is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't, or you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
I don't know that you missed much. And I actually took this question the wrong way because I saw a couple of interviews and I love the way another person answered it. So I took it as, what did I miss? So if you don't mind, I'll respond that way. Is that good? All right. So what I missed was, I missed boundary setting growing up. And it's a new lesson. Yeah, drop the book. Yeah, it's that deep, right? So this notion of boundary setting is something new, I believe, in the collective lexicon, right? So I can't speak for everybody, but for many of us, this idea of boundary setting is a new endeavor, like it's a new idea. And a lot of times we talk about boundaries, like don't come across that block, but it's a little deeper than that, right? It's about having tough conversations with people you care about and sort of, setting these parameters of how we're going to engage each other so I can be my best self. And when I'm my best self, you actually benefit. And that's hard to do when certain titles come into play, certain positions in people's lives. So I've learned that lesson. I've been working really hard on it the last 4 or 5 years because I'm also modeling for my daughter. So this idea of boundary setting is something that I miss, but I'm catching up on, particularly with people who are like, I'm one of those people. I have a very tight circle. Not too many people can really say they know me well. But once you're in that circle, I would almost do anything for you. And I have to do better in sort of setting those boundaries and parameters for those individuals. And I don't say that in in a proud way, or like somehow it's a strength that I'm that way. It's something I need to work on. Nurturing, I miss nurturing. I was loved on as a kid. I don't ever want to sort of paint the picture that I wasn't, but there's a nurturing component that I have to revisit, so I can be my best self. So I fancy myself a nurturer, but the question becomes, do I know how to accept nurturing? And that's something I'm still wrestling with right now. Um, and the other thing is, a lot of us, not all, um, fight with being our whole selves, no matter what the situation is. So, growing up in our era is like this ability to cross speak, which is appropriate to some extent. But how do we show up as our authentic selves, regardless of what the situation is? So we don't have to be 3 or 4 or 5 or 15 or 20 different people. And that's a hard step to take, particularly when you're knee deep in the business world, to show up as yourself. As the beard alone. There were studies done about Black men and facial hair and how intimidating it is. So this, along with the grays, it's a statement. I really don't care how you feel about it, right? And if it intimidates you, there's something you have to get over. I have tattoos up and down my arm. I'm not hiding them. I love the music. I love the culture I have, my mores, my traditions. They're my mores and traditions. And if you ask me a question, regardless of where I am, I'm going to give you the answer. So if you knock on my door, I'm going to answer it. So I'm going to answer it as me. So those are the things that I'm catching up on and getting stronger at.
What a great answer. Thank you. And thank you for spinning it in that way. That's really, really wonderful. I'm really grateful that you're here today and that you spoke your truth and with authenticity, as well as in your vulnerability. I really, really appreciate it. And,
Absolutely.
a leader in Philadelphia, leading the organization that you do, and walking in the circles that you walk. I know sometimes that the experience can be singular. I understand that. I experience that regularly, and
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate the desire, and more than desire, the execution of being who you are and bringing your full self into that workplace, into those environments. And so I honor you, my king, and I pray
Thank you.
that will continue to grow deeper and wider and longer and bigger, and that your epic dreams come true. I really hope your epic dream comes
All right.
true. I have to say, as both a girl dad daughter and a girl mom, I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate about your daughter.
Thank you.
I have to say, as a mom, I enjoy so much embarrassing my daughter. It's a shame I should
Mm-hmm.
say it in that way, but it's like if I don't embarrass her, I feel like I didn't do my job right, And so in that, the embarrassment of showering her with the love that she deserves, and
Absolutely.
so it's just reminding me of how many times when she was 12 once I had spoken. Everywhere I go, I talk about, I don't think a speech, conversation, anything has gone by where I haven't mentioned her in some way. She was
That's right.
12, and I brought her to some event and I'd been talking about her. She comes up to me and she goes, "Mom, stop telling my business." I was like, "You're 12, you don't have business."
That's right.
Out of you,
That's
so
right.
On behalf of your daughter, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
because we need more fathers, we need more dads to shower our children with love, and so
Absolutely.
know what it feels like to be loved. And
Absolutely.
so thank
Absolutely. Well, look, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it deeply. And again, such an incredible idea. So just kudos to you for pulling this off. And there will be a lot of people benefiting from it for now and in the future. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. I hope that you really enjoyed this interview as much as I did. And if there is a positive Black man in your life that you want to see highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio. Fill out the nomination form. It takes just like a minute or two, and then I'll take it from there. We are on our way to 100 successful and positive Black men. When I say success, it does not mean what someone does for a living. It could be as accomplished in their career as Miles is, or anything. We really have run the gamut. It really is about the content of this man's character and the impact that he has on others' lives, be it his nuclear family or the community writ large. We want to seek out those brothers because we are changing the narrative about our community. And so with that, please stay tuned next week for another amazing brother, for another amazing interview on King Crush Thursday. And in the meantime, please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thanks so much. And thanks again, Miles. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.